Hello, welcome back to our environment project. You can see I've done some progress since the last video. I had class with the students yesterday, and so during the lab time in the classroom, I also worked on my project while the class worked on theirs. And I even projected it up on the projector screen so they could watch me do it and follow along. And if they had any questions about something I was doing at the time, they could ask, and I could help them in that way. So obviously we've made some progress. The first video ended, we were kind of down here with this section made, and I have since extended up beyond that. You can see here this second row of windows, and then the arch shapes above that all the way up to here. And here's the Photoshop picture here. You can kind of see that shape up here and where we're currently at. So we still got some stuff we can do up here in this area. And again, I'm going to have this image put in post so you can see it while I work sometimes, and I'll have Photoshop off to the side for now. But yeah, let's keep going. So the last thing I did in class the other day was I made this topmost arch and then this shape here. This was made using a series of Boolean shapes to kind of cut out these circles, and I was attempting to clean up the geometry after the fact. So we can continue from there. One thing I want to get rid of is this kind of indented edge here. This should actually be kind of rounded, like so. Same problem here. Let's see, my other pieces seem fine. I'm going to try and bevel this whole series here. Let's see if it will select it. Sometimes it won't, just because of n-gons or faces with more than 4 edges kind of have problems with selecting edge loops. We can go to select contiguous edges. We can click on that and see if that will work, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, just because of the same problem. We can go into the options here, and we have some angle thresholds that we can increase. Let's say like maximum 3D angle, we can just say 360, or I guess 180 is the highest it'll go. Select. Okay, that still doesn't really want to do it. It did select more, but not quite as much as I would have hoped. So I'm just going to double click on here and select as many edges as it will allow, just to get some selected kind of as in a pattern going around this shape. Because the shape is kind of odd, it's not wanting to select all of the edges necessarily, but with all these kind of sample size of edges selected, if I press the 4 key, you can kind of see the edges that we have there. I'll try the select contiguous edges again. Okay, that worked a little bit better. It added more to the selection. Let's go through and make sure, yeah, we get these also on the ends of these pieces. And once I have all these edges selected, I will do a bevel and just kind of see if that calculates properly, or if I need to do some more cleanup before beveling will work the way I want it to. And this kind of thing, like knowing if beveling will or won't work, it just kind of comes with practice. It's mostly dealing with like these edge densities and things like that. But I think I have them all selected now, and so let's go to Edit Mesh Bevel. Yeah, it seems to work okay. Again, this isn't for a game environment, so we're not really restricted when it comes to poly counts and such. So I'm not really worrying about that too much. Okay, so we got a nice little bevel on there. That works. And this is going to be like really small in my environment. If you consider my reference image, you can see this whole window set like 3 or 4 times down the length of the wall. So this detail is going to be very small. So just adding a slight bevel like that will help me catch the light whenever I light the scene eventually. Okay, let's go ahead and bevel this through here also. Again, just to kind of get a nice little surface quality. Now going through this kind of flower shape is like a pseudo stained glass window. So we're going to put a plane in there eventually that's textured with that. Here we go. Here we go. With this image here, we're going to put a plane kind of cutting through all of this area for the window, and we'll have a texture mapped to it to give this effect of the harp that we have here and these kind of uh, decorative lines shapes and kind of shell shapes that we have. So we won't worry about that part for now. Move this back over here. But for this area here, they do have kind of an inset frame through here for another sheet of glass. So for that, I think I'm going to go to my side view or front view, I guess it is. So I'm going to go to my mesh tools, create polygon. And so I'm going to try and create like the inner ring of the frame that we're going to have. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it for now. Let's see here. And I'm going to try and follow the contours of the geometry I currently have just so it kind of matches what I have. And like I said, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm going to cut through here. Trying to match the curvature of this circular shape that I have. So we have something like this. Hit enter. So this is essentially the glass of the section over here. But what I want to do is grab all of the edges now and extrude them. So edit mesh, extrude. Which direction do I want to extrude in? Oh yeah, Z. There we go. So Z extruding out here like this, and then I'll extrude again. There we go. So we're just kind of pushing this out like so. And I need to do some tweaks to these vertices. And we'll fix more of this as we go forward. But I'm just trying to create this shape, kind of fill in this space. So it's going to be intersecting through here. Like that. And to fill in this, I'm going to just go to my mesh tools and let's see, multi-cut. And I can start on this point and just kind of click on this edge and add another point through here. Hit enter. And then I can move this point up through here just to fill in this space I have. Because again, it's going to be all the borders of what this piece that I'm working on are hidden by the other frame. So doesn't matter too much if it's not perfect. So we have something like this as a piece to start with. And again, this face here I can delete. So once we have this part, select this edge loop and I can push it back to give it some thickness. And then I can select this edge loop and make a bevel. We can actually, if I have the object selected and hit Alt H, it will hide everything else. So only it is visible. And I'm going to fix this, I'm going to make this geometry a little bit cleaner right here. Go to Mesh Tools, Mesh Tools, Multi-Cut. I'll start on this point and we'll just add a point through here. Hit enter, and then we'll do the same through here. Hit enter. And I'll get rid of this edge like that. So I'm going to grab this edge in the corner here, and actually I'll do all three of our corner pieces and bevel it. So edit mesh, bevel, let's see what that looks like. Okay. And it creates like some extra edges here. So I'll select this one and I'll go to edit mesh. I want to collapse. Edit mesh, collapse. There it is. And I can delete this one, edit mesh, delete edge like that. And I guess we can delete this edge too once we have this. And down here we can select this point. I'm going to drag it down here and point snap it to this one and merge it. Edit mesh merge. Merge those 2 points together. Same here. Alright, so now that we have those edges beveled in those little corners, we can bevel the entire length of the inner frame here. Edit mesh bevel. We can increase the fraction, have a bit larger bevel. Let's see, what if we do like a value of 1.5? Okay, not too bad. Control Shift H to unhide what I last hid. We can kind of see what we have here. I'm going to go to Modify, Center Pivot, and move this forward a bit so it's not quite so far back. So yeah, we get something like this. And again, we're going to be seeing it from quite the distance, so it doesn't need to be super awesome. It just needs to be just enough to fill in this inner frame here. And now I can Control D to duplicate that. I'm going to hold down the D key and the V key to snap my pivot point to the center of the piece. And for the duplicate, I'm going to scale -1 in the X axis to kind of mirror it over to the other side. Like that. Maybe I need to move this one back a little bit. But we're just kind of getting nitpicky a little bit. Just kind of looking at it and seeing what looks best. Oops. Got a little bit of a gap down here. We can adjust these edges. Pull them down. There we go. Fill in that space. So yeah, eventually what we'll do is have a plane through here with our glass pattern or glass design on there. So yeah, this kind of big door, this big wooden door thing is kind of done. So what I can start to do now is work on the frame that's around it. I'm looking at the picture here, and I'll put it in post as well. Definitely has some interesting kind of the column shapes with little squares, and the arch that's going up to the ceiling I think I'll do after I work on the walls next to the door. And the walls kind of extend into the column supports, so I guess we'll just call it the column 2. We're going to be working on that whole section next to the door with the column and the column support, and the top of the column where it meets the arch, all that stuff that kind of borders the wooden door. So that's what we'll work on next. So let's see, to get started with that, I guess we can go back to the bottom and just kind of go from there. I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to keep the door here in the file as I work on this section, just because I think it'll help me with proportions, making sure I get everything scaled properly. So again, once we have one side, we can just duplicate it over for the other side. So let's kind of go down here, and I'm just going to grab this piece to kind of start with. Again, kind of a baseboardy type of thing. Duplicate it, center the pivot, and we'll move it over to about right here. And scale wise, this looks to be, looking at the image again, the width between the two doors, like if you look at both wooden doors, and the amount of space the column and that section of wall takes up, looks to be approximately maybe 3/4 the width of the door itself. So let's use that. And again, we're not trying to be too exact, but just something to work off of for scale. So I think that's close enough. So I'll use this width for that part of the environment. And the baseboard for that part of the wall looks to be a bit taller than the base of the door itself right here. So I'm going to lift this up higher. Something like this. Create a cube, move it over here. This will be our actual wall, so I'll just kind of drag these points out to match the width of the piece we currently have in the scene. Move this down, it kind of intersects with what we have. And so this wall, again looking at the picture, it extends all the way up to right under the arch is right here at the top of the window sets. And then let's see, we have this kind of mantle type shape extends across through here, and then this wall kind of comes up right to the top of it. And even though it seems like I'm being kind of picky with it, and I kind of am, at the same time, not going to be too worried about it. And also, this wall is actually a little further out. So let's move this out like this. We have some thickness here between the door and the wall. There's a bit of a depth difference there. We can make this a little bit wider. Okay. Relatively simple shape for the most part until we get to the actual column. Alright, so there's kind of this paneling detail within the wall. Mesh tools and insert edge loop right through here. And I'm going to make the weight of that edge loop 0.5 so it goes right through the middle. Okay. And then I'll grab both of these faces, edit mesh, extrude. This interface here, I'm going to turn keep faces together off by just clicking this, and then I can scale these individually. Look at my picture again. Looks like this panel kind of goes most of the distance up the wall. And the column is in between the two panels. So I think the panels are going to be a little offset from the center. The bottom of the panels actually is not quite so low, so let's increase this, raise this up about here. And I think we're going to grab these two edges and just scale them in like this so we get our panel thinner and then favoring the outer edge of the face like this. Okay, so I'm grab these two faces and we can use some extrudes to create the panel details that we have. So again, edit mesh, extrude, and first thing we'll do is come out slightly. Then with these two faces, I'm going to bevel them. Very slight bevel, looks like it's pretty slight as it is. Grab these two faces again, extrude again, edit mesh, extrude. Come in a little bit, come down a little bit like this. Press G to extrude again. No, come in again slightly, scale it a little bit shorter. This way, there we go. Move that back slightly, hit G again to extrude again, move that back a little bit more. Not too far. Then I'm going to bevel these, edit mesh bevel, grab the two faces again, edit mesh extrude. I'm going to pull them forward slightly, and then I'll bevel it again, edit mesh bevel. So we have something like this. So I think that will work fine for now anyway. And then the column piece should fit between the two panels right through here. We might need to make some adjustments as it comes up. We'll see. Alright, so we can continue. Let's see, let's grab, what do we want? We can sometimes reuse pieces that we already have, like this piece here. It's a nice straight piece with a bevel attached already. Hit Control D to duplicate it. I'll kind of move it up here like this. and start the edge details of this section of wall. And we're going to make it actual wider just so it matches the depth of the wall that we have here. I'm going to actually duplicate it, bring this one up here like this, scale it up slightly so it's a little bit larger than the one below it. We'll make it a little bit taller, something like this. Don't want to be too subtle with it, we can pull it out some more. And yeah, right now we're just kind of playing with shapes. I'll duplicate this smaller one again, bring it up here. I'll have it extend beyond the one below it. And make it a little bit thinner. It's kind of a thin detail piece above this thicker one. Make sure there's no gaps between our pieces. Then I'll duplicate this one more time, bring it up here. And this is going to be a bit of a larger piece. Extends up to about here. Then we have this piece again, we can duplicate up here, give it a bit of a border on both the top and the bottom. Make it a little bit thicker. Kind of match the edge of this so much, a little bit. Okay. So yeah, we're getting there. So I'll move this over here now, and I don't know if the background color makes much of a difference. Maybe this black background, you can maybe see the details a little bit better, a bit more of a contrast going on. But I'll put the image here. Anyway, so yeah, we're making progress, working on the wall section that's going to be between the doors. That's going to have the column here in front of it. Making progress, so I'll stop the video here for now, and we'll keep working on it in our next part. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.